everyone, this is Rion Paper. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you about mood tracking. This is my sterlingink common planner in N1. It's the same size as the Traveler's Notebook's regular size. And one of the things that I use this planner for is for mood tracking. Mood tracking is quite common in the sort of journaling and bullet journal world. But why would you track your mood? What's the purpose of that? For some people, it is just for fun. It's just fun to, especially if you do this with colors or coloring in something, that's just a fun thing to do. It helps you keep track of the days. And, it's the same as crossing the day off on a calendar. However, mood tracking can also be a really useful tool to start to understand yourself better. And when you understand yourself better, you can also try to influence your mood. Or maybe if you can't influence it, you can at least be prepared for certain patterns and, take that into consideration when planning your week or when evaluating how your week went. So in order to do this, I track my mood in two ways. So one of the ways I do this is by giving each day a rating on a 1 to 5 star scale. And I do this in this overview. Let's turn it. And you can see that by rating every day on a 1 to 5 scale, you get this graph that shows how my mood changed each day during the month. However, just seeing a number connected to a date, which basically is just another number, that doesn't really show me anything. When I did this first, and then I felt like it was lacking something. It did absolutely not give me enough data to be useful. So what I added is basically a color coding system that tells me what type of mood I had during that day. So for example, let's see, on Saturday, the 2nd of March, let's just see what rate I gave. I thought it was a 4 out of 5, which means it was quite a good day. If we take a look here, I made this one pink, and the pink stands for an excited or energized mood, which was quite common in March, which is something that I'm happy about because, I'm always glad to be energized and excited. This was my partner's birthday, and we had a fun day with family and, good vibes all around. So that combination, that I was feeling excited and full of energy, I gave that day a 4 out of 5. And I have a little indication about why it might be that I was feeling that way. For example, here on the 12th of March, that was not quite as good a day. I wrote down that I felt a little insecure, unfocused, and there were some days in the future that I was not looking forward to, and that made me feel stressed at that time. I picked the color that I use for stressed or feeling anxious, and I probably have not given this day a really good rating. Let's see, it's the 12th of March, and I picked that was this little valley. I gave that day a 2. In terms of rating, that was the lowest day of March. So that way, I can really have a sort of overview about how I was feeling and why it might have been that I was feeling that way. So after doing this for a little over 3 months now, I got curious to see if there's already some kind of pattern, something that I can learn from this. And there are a couple of observations I have made. It is not enough data yet to, have myself completely figured out and know how I can prevent my mood from ever being not good ever again. That is not really the point anyway, but I would really like to use this to, understand myself a little bit better. And I'm going to just, ramble on for a bit and name some things that I've seen happen, some of things that I noted from over the past 3 months. However, those things may not be particularly interesting to you, but I think that by seeing what kinds of observations I have made, I can maybe inspire you to, take a look at how your months went, and if maybe you see similar patterns or patterns that are completely different. But, I think this is such a personal thing, and it can be really hard to understand how our brains work and how our minds work. Obviously, if I have a lot of work to do and I feel like I'm not going to get it done on time, I will feel stressed. That is, I don't really need to track my mood in order to understand that about myself. However, some of the things that I've seen happen here are not really a surprise, but it's really a reminder that I should try and do something about that, or that by taking it into consideration, I can make things a little less difficult for myself. So just to illustrate, one of the things that I noted was that apparently I am quite happy in general. So that is just, a positive note to start off with. The good days, in terms of their numbers, absolutely outweigh the bad days. So I'm really, really happy about that. I've given most days either a 4 or 3 star rating, with 3 being, just fine, regular, nothing special, and 4 being good. It's not perfect day, it's not like best day of my life, but it was a good day. I felt good, and when I went to bed, I felt like, yeah, that was a good day. Then the second thing that I noted was that stressed or anxious days tend to occur a little more often in the first half of the week. Now, I don't know why that is. And it may also not be, if I track this for an entire year, that may not be the case anymore. But for now, I've noted that a lot of the stress days are, on this page, it's the browns. There's 1 on the right-hand side, and there's 2.5 on the left. Here it's the red, where all of the reds are on the left side. Here it's orange, red-ish, with a little more on the left than on the right side. And for this month so far, it's the orange, which is sort of 50-50. So already I can see that maybe this is just a coincidence for the first couple months, but it's still important to note it and to maybe keep track of that. Then another thing is that I usually tend to be stressed because of something that has yet to happen, something that is still in the future and that is not happening on the day itself. I can usually handle the stress of something that is happening today quite well by just, for example, taking some time to relax and to sort of de-stress myself. For example, if I'm not really looking forward to something that I have to do tonight, I can just be productive today, not think about it too much, or I can just be, playing a video game, just trying to have some fun. However, I often tend to be stressed about things that are a bit further into the future. Another thing that I noted is that I tend to feel very productive or stressed when I'm working from home and my partner is in the office. Whereas whenever he's working from home as well, I tend to be more relaxed and a little less prone to stress, but I also tend to feel less productive and less focused. So it's sort of, those days are sort of a safe bet for the day. Like those days will be quite okay, but the days that I've rated as feeling very energetic and very productive tend to be a lot of the days when my partner is in the office. But the days when I was the most stressed were also days when he was in the office. And, that sort of goes back to that whenever I start to feel stress, it tends to sort of spiral. It's something that, ticks me off or sort of gets the ball rolling. And then if I can't really talk myself out of it, then I tend to just sort of spiral and feel more stressed and anxious. I think that's where it comes in, that when, for example, when my partner's home and we're having lunch together and, we're just talking, and I can, feel that stress sort of flowing away. Another thing I noted, and that is something that I guess I've always known about myself, but it was still interesting to see. The days when I rate myself as being the happiest are usually days when I get a lot of work done on projects that I enjoy and that I care about. The sort of second category that I rate very high are like weekend days where we don't really have a lot of stuff planned, and they are just like relaxing days. Here, that's mostly the green days, which is nice. Whereas a lot of the pink days are just days when I felt really, excited, energized. But that's usually about projects that I care about. If I am productive on projects that do not really excite me, and that sometimes stuff just has to get done, but I really, couldn't care less about the contents of whatever it is I'm working on. In those cases, I tend to evaluate the day way lower than when I'm working on things that, actually make me feel happy. However, when I'm working on something that I usually enjoy, but I'm not making a lot of progress, hitting a lot of walls, just, struggling with stuff that I'm working on, then those are also not really highly rated. I don't know if that makes sense, but the one thing that I take away from this is that a day where I can just relax and have fun, that is not the perfect day for me. It is absolutely a good day, but I prefer the days when I get to work on something that I enjoy. And that does not have to be like paid work. It does not have to be my job. A lot of times it's just working on personal projects, like writing a new song on the piano, or spending time studying a language. Like, those are projects that I absolutely love spending time on, and that really have a lot of meaning to me, that fill me with satisfaction. Another thing is that stress about social events. I'm a very, very big introvert. That tends to pass quite quickly. Like, I will very, very often be stressed for something that for like social gatherings, social events, no matter if it's with friends or with colleagues or like other social things. I just stress about those kind of things. I'm never really quite looking forward to them, even if looking back, they were always fun. I'm just not someone who's like, yay, we're going to have a big party this weekend. That will just stress me out. However, that stress does pass quite quickly. Whereas stress about the future, insecurities about how good I do certain things, or like financial insecurities, or just, stressing about life in general, I suppose. Those tend to last a bit longer, and those periods of stress that can really spiral into a sort of slump where I find it a bit harder to get out of that. And also to stop overthinking, to get out of my head. So I can really see that when that happens, it'll usually take a couple days. It happened, for example, here and a bit here. and it happened here, that tends to influence kind of the rest of the week as well. Whereas here, for example, I was a bit stressed about having an event that day, but it was just that day, and then the day after was like a great day. Another thing that I noted is that days where I wake up early and have a very long morning, especially when that morning is not filled with meetings, not filled with appointments, but really just a morning where I can make my own schedule and, like, for example, also add in a couple of like fun things to work on. That is a really, really great start of the day to me, and that really sets the tone for the day. Whereas, oversleeping and then having to do things in a hurry, feeling sort of behind the entire day, that is a very big indicator that it's going to be a stressed day. So I really, really have to prioritize waking up early and not wasting my morning. And I mean, I'm not like doing fun stuff, sipping a coffee in the sun with a cat on my lap, reading a book. That is not wasting a morning, in my opinion. But staying in bed for too long, just scrolling the news, that is absolutely wasting my day. So, just really being conscious about how I spend my mornings, that really influences how I will rate the day at the end of the day. So that was one thing that I really noted, like reading these little entries and also reading what I wrote in my journal and in my my 5-year journal where I write little entries about each day. That's really something that I noticed. Now, if there's one thing that I've seen happen throughout these couple months that, sometimes goes wrong, sometimes goes well, but that I can really improve upon, it's that I should really prioritize making a realistic planning for the week. Now, I've made an entire video about realistic planning, but it's not like I'm absolutely not perfect in that aspect, in any aspect for that matter, but I very often do not plan realistically enough, especially the part where in that video I mentioned that it's wise to plan for a below average version of yourself. I tend to plan for the entire week. I like to plan ahead, but I sort of treat each day equally. But what will happen sometimes is, if, let's say I'm working today, I can get a lot of work done, don't have a lot of meetings, I can get a lot of things done. And then maybe tonight I have a social event, something that is fun, but that also really drains a lot of my mental energy. That will usually mean that at the end of the night I'm very tired, but I also won't sleep too well. And tomorrow morning I will wake up feeling still, a little burnt out from the event. And just, my head is still, replaying all of the conversations and just processing everything. I don't know if that's an introvert thing or if that's just me, but that's something that really happens. If I plan the same amount of tasks for today as for tomorrow, then tomorrow I will not get all of that done. And that will be a stress factor for the rest of the week, because those days will also have very long to-do lists and I don't really have time anywhere to make up for the time that I will lose tomorrow by not feeling my best. So what I've done, for example, this week, I knew that on Monday I had a social event that was going to be fun, but I was also really going to tire me out. So I thought, let's not make a to-do list for Tuesday that is too long. Let's plan some easy tasks and also just a bit of downtime. And that worked great, because that made sure that Tuesday was not another stress day, but actually a day where I felt quite peaceful and relaxed, because I did what I had to do, I did what I put on my to-do list, but then I also had some time to recharge. And those are kind of the things that I'm trying to improve upon. But in order to really see these patterns, in order to really see what is going on, I really need the data from this little mood tracker kind of situation. A lot of these things are also written down in my journal, but that is, if I want to analyze that, I would have to really read through a lot of long form journaling in order to find these specific things that I say about my mood or my energy or whatever. Whereas this tracker just gives quite a quick overview of what was going on. I've been rambling for a while. I think I've said everything that I wanted to say. I hope that when I'm editing this, it will kind of make sense what I've said. But I hope this will maybe inspire you to do some mood tracking for yourself if you've never tried it, or to maybe start analyzing some of the patterns that you can find in your mood tracking. Maybe you've been tracking it for a while just because you like it, but you've never really looked at the data. It can be difficult, and everyone is different, and maybe, probably your mood tracking, the results of your mood tracking look very different to mine, but it can be really useful to just try and understand ourselves better, because at the end of the day, I realize that not every day has to be perfect, and my mood tracker is not going to be only filled with perfect days. That's just absolutely unrealistic, and it's not something worth striving to. However, wherever I can have a positive influence on my mood, by taking certain aspects into consideration when I'm making a plan for the week, or by influencing my thought patterns at certain points because I see the same things happening over and over again, I think those tiny wins can really be worth it. So that is why I will keep on tracking my mood at least for the rest of this year. And, if it'll keep on giving me interesting data, I might keep on doing this for even longer. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you took away something from it, or if not, then at least it was a little bit relaxing to listen to, maybe, who knows? And I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye.